On the runway, surrounded by officers in crisp uniforms and flashing warning lights, a single father stood, frozen with grease on his hands and fear in his eyes, while an admiral's smirk sliced deeper than any insult ever could. Everyone there believed the same thing in that moment, that this tired-looking man with a toolbox didn't belong, that he was about to fail publicly, and that his failure would be entertaining. No one imagined that within hours, his truth would bring entire base to silence. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of quiet strength, take a second right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this matter because people like him exist everywhere, unseen. The man's name was Daniel Hale, though almost no one on the Naval Air Base bothered to remember it. To them, he was just a civilian contractor who showed up early, kept his head down, and left late. He wore the same faded jacket every day, its elbows worn thin, its zipper half broken. In his pocket was always a folded drawing made with crayons, his daughter's way of reminding him why he kept going even when life felt unbearably heavy. Daniel was a single dad to a 7-year-old girl named Lily, a child with a weak heart and a laugh so bright it made doctors pause mid-sentence. Every repair job he took, every sleepless night under a jet wing was another step toward her next surgery, her next chance to grow older. The base itself was a world of sharp edges and sharper hierarchies. Rank mattered more than effort. Reputation outweighed truth. Daniel existed at the bottom of that ladder, invisible unless something went wrong. And on that day, something had gone very wrong. A prototype fighter jet worth more than Daniel could earn in 10 lifetimes had failed during pre-flight checks. Engineers were scrambling. Officers were tense. The visiting admiral, a man famous for his arrogance and theatrical authority, paced the runway with impatience dripping from every step. Daniel had noticed the issue hours earlier, a subtle vibration pattern that didn't match the data. He had asked to run deeper diagnostics, but was brushed aside. Now the jet sat silent, its systems locked down, schedules collapsing, reputations at stake. When Daniel was finally summoned, it wasn't with respect. It was with mockery. The admiral's eyes traveled over him slowly, deliberately, lingering on the grease stains, the worn boots. Exhaustion etched into his face. The challenge was issued like a joke, loud enough for everyone to hear. Fix this jet, the admiral implied with his tone and posture. He would grant Daniel the impossible, dangling marriage and honor like a cruel prize. Laughter rippled through the onlookers. To them, it was entertainment. To Daniel, it was humiliation, wrapped around desperation. He felt every eye judging him, measuring his worth by his appearance, his status, his silence. But Daniel stepped forward anyway. As he approached the jet, memories crowded his mind. Lily in a hospital bed, clutching his finger. Lily asking him if airplanes could feel pain. Lily whispering that she didn't want him to be sad if she fell asleep forever. Those memories steadied his hands more than any training ever could. He had nothing left to lose except her, and that was everything. He worked methodically, shutting out the noise, the whispers, the ticking clock of military impatience. His fingers traced wires, panels, systems he knew like old friends. Years earlier, Daniel had been at the top of his field, a decorated aeronautical engineer trusted with missions that never made the news. He had signed papers he could never talk about, flown planes that officially did not exist, and fixed problems that would ended wars before they started. Then Lily's mother died suddenly, and Daniel walked away from everything that mattered to the world so he could hold his daughter's hand while she slept. Time passed slowly, stretching nerves thin. The admiral's smirk faded into irritation. Officers checked watches. Pressure built. And then, quietly, Daniel found it. A microscopic fracture in a component recently modified without proper recalibration. A mistake so small it escaped the software, but deadly enough to doom the aircraft and its pilot. Daniel Cora kit it, reinforced the system, rerouted the feedback loop, and reset the controls. His movements were calm, precise, almost reverent when he stepped back, covered in sweat and grease. The jet hummed to life like it was breathing again. Silence fell. The engines stabilized. Readings normalized. One by one, the technicians stared at their monitors in disbelief. The jet was not just functional, it was perfect, better than before. The admiral's confidence wavered, replaced by suspicion. He demanded an explanation, credentials, proof that this civilian nobody hadn't just gotten lucky. That was when Daniel finally looked up. He removed his jacket slowly, revealing an old insignia stitched into the lining, faded but unmistakable to anyone who knew. He reached into his pocket and produced a battered ID card, one that should have been destroyed years ago. The room changed the moment the admiral recognized the name, the clearance level, the signature at the bottom. Color drained from his face. The smirk died completely. Daniel Hale was not just a mechanic. He was a former lead engineer for the Navy's most classified aerospace division. A man whose recommendations once overruled generals. A man who had walked away voluntarily, refusing medals, refusing promotions, choosing fatherhood over glory. The admiral's cruel joke collapsed under the weight of truth. Respect flooded in too late, heavy and awkward, but Daniel didn't bask in it. He didn't demand apologies. He didn't expose anyone. He asked only one thing: that the jet be cleared safely, and that his payment be processed on time. When asked why he stayed silent all these years, why he accepted disrespect, he simply said that his daughter didn't care who he used to be. She only cared that he came home. Later that night, Daniel sat beside Lily's bed, telling her about the airplane that felt better after he fixed it. She smiled weakly, proud in a way only children can be. Outside the hospital window, jets crossed the sky, their lights blinking like promises. Daniel held her hand, feeling hope stir where exhaustion once lived. The next morning, an unmarked envelope arrived with funding approvals, medical connections, and a quiet apology that didn't need words. The admiral never joked like that again. If the story touched your heart, if it reminded you that strength doesn't always shout and dignity does need an audience, please take a moment now to like, share, and engage with this video. Your support helps stories like this reach people who need them most. And before the ending, leave a comment telling us what part moved you the most or who this story made you think of, because somewhere right now there is a tired parent being underestimated, a quiet hero carrying more than anyone knows, and sometimes all it takes is one moment for the truth to finally be seen.